What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel T4s video, and in this video we are back to talk about the Out of Time team. We're gonna take a look at the best T4s, the best ISO 8, the best position for the Out of Time team, and which are the best game modes for this team. They are going to be necessary for a future legendary character unlock, and on top of that, this team right now is already showing huge value in Alliance Wars, but also in Cosmic Crucible, and some of these characters might also have additional value in other game modes in the very near future. So we're going to break down all the information that you need to know in order for you to build them properly. And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Force content, and make sure to smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so Out of Time team composed by Black Knight, Captain America, Captain Carter, Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and also Star Brand. Some of these characters are a little bit controversial when we are talking about in terms of value, like Star Brand, but remember that it all depends on the size. Everyone sees Black Knight being a great character because most of the people have him already maxed out, but the other characters, they get a lot better as soon as you get them big, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at the T4 that we always have for these teams, and it's already available on my Discord. You have the best T4s. If it's orange, it's in all game modes, the value. If it's red, it's in Alliance Wars. Then we have the best ISO 8 for defense. We have the best ISO 8 for offense. Something I have to tell you right away about this team is that they are very versatile. You can pretty much use all kinds of ISO 8 on them. They are going to work out fine. The characters you should invest the most, and then the position and the best game modes. We're going to break down all this information in a second, but first off, let's start with the T4s. So we're gonna do this in alphabetic order, and we're gonna start with Black Knight. So Black Knight T4 on the basic is just going to increase the damage a little bit. It's piercing, so it has additional value, especially if you're using him as a striker, but this is definitely not a T4 that you should prioritize. In terms of the passive, it gives Black Knight Safeguard and applies immunity to self and one adjacent ally. So once again, the position of the team is going to be important, and of course, whenever you're getting Safeguard or whenever you're applying trauma, you definitely want to consider that T4, and specifically this one with immunity is very powerful. Now we're gonna take a look at the ultimate. Increase the amount of piercing damage that you do to multiple targets, and on top of that, increase the amount of damage you do based on your health to multiple targets as well. So this is a very powerful T4, huge damage output, so it's definitely another T4 that we should consider. And finally, we have the passive for Black Knight, where on turn is going to get one charge to a maximum of 3 and fill the speed bar by 40% whenever he loses all the charges. So of course, whenever you're getting speed bar, it's going to be important, and getting these additional charges per turn is also important because it gets to a point where you run out of charges, especially if you don't coordinate your abilities properly, because every time you use the ability, it gets 3 charges, but if you use the special and the ultimate back to back, the charges only stock up to 3, and because of that, you're gonna lose the extra charges that you'd get. So you'd be better off using special, basic, ultimate, just to make sure that you have as many charges as possible. So in terms of T4s for Black Knight, definitely the passive, definitely the special. The ultimate is very nice to have. The damage output on this ability is very high, and he gets his ultimate early on. And the basic, it's okay, it's something that you might consider in the future when you have him big enough, and especially if you are using him as a striker. If you are using him as a fortifier, the basic is not important. Okay, now we're gonna take a look at Captain America, and this is one of the OG characters. You might have a lot of T4s on him already. Basic is always nice because you're applying offense down for 2 turns. The special gives more energy, clears more negative effects from himself, but also the Out of Time characters. It goes from 2 to 5, which is huge. Additional energy for everyone. In raids, it doesn't really matter, we are not going to use this character in raids. Then we have the ultimate, we are going to get additional speed bar and attack more targets. This ability has 5000 focus, so it's great to remove positive effects. And because it attacks multiple targets, you could also use him as a raider. So extra speed bar and multiple targets buff removal, quite nice to have as well. And then we have the passive. In Alliance Wars is going to get 20% more health, and when a rebirth of out of time character drops below 50 is going to get taunted for 2 turns. So none of these T4s are like amazing apart from the special. The special is absolutely must have. Then the ultimate is very nice to have because of the amount of speed bar you get. You get like 60% speed bar. That's really huge, especially early on. And the AI takes advantage of this mechanic. The passive, the extra health in war, always welcome. This is a war team. It works on defense and works on offense. So definitely welcome. And the basic is okay. It's not super amazing by any means. But yeah, when you are controlling the characters by the AI, it's not great. But when you are using these characters on offense, is a little bit better. So I don't know, it's up to you if you want to do the basic or not. There is value on the basic, but you have to use the character in order to make sure that he's applying the offense down for 2 turns. Otherwise, the T4 on the basic for Captain America is pointless. Okay, now Captain Carter. Captain Carter on the basic, she applies more regens. Skip. On the special, she's going to revive an out of time character with 60% health rather than 30%, which is nice, but it only works in Alliance Wars, so keep that in mind. Outside of Alliance Wars, she still revives rebirth characters, so that's going to be Captain America, but not the other one. So don't be surprised that in Cosmic Crucible sometimes she doesn't revives, because yes, it only revives rebirth, which is only Captain America. In terms of the ultimate, it only works in raids, you do more damage, so this is a hard pass. And then we have the passive that in war, when an out-of-time character drops below 30% health, they heal for 30%. This is okay, it's not super great, because the trigger amount is quite low, so it's a dangerous situation, but it's a nice to have. So for Captain Carter, maybe the passive, maybe the special, definitely skip the basic and the ultimate. Okay, let's take a look at Cosmic Ghost Rider. Cosmic Ghost Rider on his basic, he applies bleeds, so the more T4s you have on the higher ability level you have on the basic, the more bleed damage you are going to do. And then you also have increased damage. Because this is a big D rather than a small d, that means it's base stats rather than the damage multiplier. So this means this 50% will also affect the bleed output, so this is going to be a lot better. So you are increasing the damage of the bleeds in 2 ways. If you're going to have Cosmic Ghost Rider as a striker, you should definitely consider doing the T4 on the basic. With the special, you are going to apply trauma to protector characters with the highest speed and apply defense down. This is to be used against Mephisto. So if you don't know yet, Cosmic Ghost Rider is sort of a counter against Mephisto because he's a protector, and with this you're going to be able to apply trauma to him, defense down, and so on. So this is a T4 that in the future might have more value. Right now it has a little bit of value, not a lot, so the special you could possibly skip for now. Then we have the ultimate, apply trauma to the primary target. This is going to be on the stun, so every time you have a stun with trauma, it's great. But this is a turn 2 ability, so because of that, it's not like, it's great, but it's not amazing, because once again, it's a turn 2 ability. So it's nice to have, but maybe skip depending on which teams you are facing anyway. Then we have additional piercing damage. It doesn't apply bleeds, it doesn't apply anything like that. So this is not a T4 that in specific situations is nice, but most of the times is going to be a skip. And finally we have the passive, and on the passive we're going to get 30% barrier every time the enemies use their ultimate. So this is really massive, because this can trigger multiple times. You keep seeing the barrier going up over and over, so it's quite great. So for Ghost Rider, definitely do the passive, maybe do the special, maybe do the ultimate as well, depending on which enemies we are facing. And finally, the basic, also nice if you have this guy as a striker. So most of the T4s are nice to have. And finally, we have the star brand, the character that is very controversial. Everyone says he's trash until they see a star brand with like 6 red stars or 7 red stars, and then you'll see that star brand absolutely demolishes everyone. So on the basic, he's going to apply offense down to the secondary attack, and we have a normal damage for both of the attacks, so it's okay, it's not great. I would definitely skip the basic for this guy, especially because you are not going to use him as a striker. Then the special is must have T4 because you are going to turn in line the adjacent characters and also the secondary target by 15%. This is really good, very important for star brand. Then we have the ultimate, applies a stun to a secondary target or to the primary target if both of them have the highest damage or something, no, the most injured enemy. And it also increases the damage multiplier by 200% for both targets, so this is huge. This is insane amount of damage that star brand does. Once again, when you start seeing those star brands at 6 yellow plus 7 yellow, even diamonds, this guy is going to obliterate your team on his own. And finally, we have the passive on spawn immunity for self and out of time. This works in all game modes, and in war you're gonna reduce the maximum barrier from the enemies. This is very meaningless, but the immunity on spawn can be quite nice, especially because this team allows the enemies to go much faster. So for star brand, definitely do the special and the ultimate, maybe do the passive, and the basic is a hard skip. Okay, so once again, we can find all this information on my infographic. Black Knight, most of the T4s except the basic. Captain America, definitely the special, and maybe the other T4s, definitely more emphasis on the ultimate and on the passive. Captain Carter, special, maybe the passive. Cosmic Ghost Rider, passive, ultimate, special. Basic, depending if you have him as a striker or not. And star brand, we have the special, we have the ultimate, and maybe the passive. Now, in terms of the ISO weight for these characters, you want to use Black Knight as a striker or as a fortifier. And this is because if you have him as a fortifier level 5 blue, he's going to have drain, right? So every time he retaliates, he's going to heal himself. But the striker is also a good option because he's applying a ton of bleeds to your enemies, and his damage is pretty much insane. Captain America, you most of the times use him as a skirmisher. Like I said, this team is very flexible. You can use Captain America also as a fortifier, as a healer, as a skirmisher, even as a raider, because he attacks multiple targets with his ultimate and with his basic. So it's up to you. I feel like the skirmisher is the most consistent, and this is because of the basic. Whenever you use the basic, you really want to make sure that that offense down lands, because the ultimate doesn't require that. Captain Carter, you can use her as a raider, healer, skirmisher, even as a striker, but I would definitely focus on the healer and on the skirmisher, just to make sure that you can remove positive effects from the enemies, but also keep the team alive if it's necessary. Cosmic Ghost Rider, he can be a raider on defense, striker on offense, because you really want to make sure that he's using the striker as a weight as often as possible, because he's going to be able to provide energy to the team that is not at full energy. So that's going to be very important. And finally, we have Star Brand. You can use him as a skirmisher because his focus is kind of trash. Even that, it seems like Raider is the best option. I think Raider is just a bait for you to waste your eyes away, because his focus is so trash, he really needs that skirmisher. And then we also have a fortifier, because Starbrand also has trash health, and the fortifier, especially with blue 5, with additional drain, that's going to keep him alive for a lot longer. So, as I said, the ISO weight is pretty much whatever you want, but these are the best options overall, because the team is so flexible when it comes to the ISO weight. Okay, so all these characters are going to be important, all these characters are required for a legendary character, so it's up to you to decide which one, how high you want to invest in them, but you should definitely invest more on Starbrand, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Black Knight, because these are the characters that really win the match. Captain America and Captain Carter, you probably invest in the past, and their kits don't scale as much as the other characters we are talking about. In terms of the team position, it's going to be extremely important that you have Starbrand on the far left. This is because he gives drain to the team, and if he's not on the far left, some of the characters will not have drain. So if you want to have drain on all the characters, you need to have Star Brand in the corner. Then you want to have Black Knight and Captain America on the far right, far away from Star Brand, followed by or Cosmic Ghost Rider or Captain Carter, whichever you have the biggest. And this is because Captain Carter in water will be able to revive them, and she also has the block chance, so she can take some additional damage in the face that the other characters cannot. So this is why this is the best position. But once again, if you rather have Captain Carter on the second slot from the left, that's fine too, because once again it allows her to revive her characters more consistently. Now, in terms of the game modes for this team, in Blitz they are going to be somewhat decent. Black Knight in Blitz is quite amazing with any characters. The other ones are more dependent on which you pair them up with. In Arena, we have massive value for Black Knight, of course, but like, as I said before, Cosmic Ghost Rider will have value as well because of Mephisto in the future. In raids right now, Captain America and Captain Carter, you can use them, but you shouldn't. We have Hive Mind out, so don't worry about it. In terms of Black Knight on the skill nodes, he helps a little bit on the first node, maybe also on the last node. It's up to you. I don't really recommend. The raids are just too difficult for this team to handle. In Dark Dimension, Cosmic Ghost Rider is an option, even that is Mystic. Captain America is one good option. Black Knight also a good option for Dark Dimension Global. Captain Carter not so much, especially if you are not going to take any of the other two characters. And she also uses a unique that a lot of other characters require, which is the Unstable Cloth, I think, and the Molecular Cloth actually, and because of that it's not recommended for you to take. In Alliance Wars, of course, this team is going to obliterate on defense and on offense. In Avengers Tower they work fine, but the character that really shines is Black Knight. Captain America can also be used because of his passive and because of the energy generation. The other one not so much. And in Cosmic Crucible, once again, Black Knight takes the cake, while the other characters, they are okay, but not super important. So once again, the position of the out of time team is very, very important. You always want to have Star Brand in one corner, and you want to have Black Knight in the other corner, followed by Captain America, and then the other two you can switch around. So that's all information that you need to know about the out of time team. Once again, this is a very, very powerful team in Alliance Wars, but as you guys saw, they also have value in other game modes as well. And at the end of the day, this is going to be a team required for a legendary character, and with the new rules of Scopely, of Boundless, they really want to make sure that you are investing on these teams that are necessary for legendary characters. So while in the past you skipped the new Avengers, I don't think this is going to be the case for this team. So start right now, gear them up at least to gear tier 16, maybe gear tier 17 if you're at the end game. And if you're not at the end game, make sure you at least gear them up to gear tier 15 so you can unlock the next legendary character. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Out of time team, how to build them up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I'll catch you guys later.